Okay, so again, hopefully you folks have been working your way through Unit 2, learning about functions and mouse events. Hopefully you've also seen properties. And what my concern is that sometimes after students learn about all of those things, functions, mouse events, and properties, that they sometimes get things confused. So I want to compare these things side by side. First of all, let's take a look at let's create an on mouse press function. We'll do the function definition for on mouse press. And we will set the parameters to mouse X and mouse Y. We do not have to set the parameters to mouse X and mouse Y. We could set them to whatever we want. We could set them to I don't know, we could make them, let's see here, Steve and Sally. And Steve would hold the mouse X position and Sally would hold the mouse Y. We're just going to use mouse X and mouse Y because then it'll be obvious what we're looking at when we're using them in our code. Okay, so now let's say that we want to draw a circle at mouse X, mouse Y. Then our code would look like this. It would be something like this, comma mouse Y, and then we'll put in a radius, let's call it 30. And if we run this code, by the way, this code we do not need to write a function call for the on mouse press function. What happens is when you click the canvas, you call that function on mouse press. It's a special function that knows when you click the mouse. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and then I'm going to click the mouse a few times, and you can see we get a circle. And notice I'm going to click the mouse and then take my finger away real quickly. Okay, and notice that when I click the mouse, not only is a circle drawn, but the center of the circle is right where I click the mouse. Why is that? It's because of the definition of a circle. Our function calls for circles, they look something like this. Circle, and then we get a center X, and a center Y, and a radius, and some other stuff sometimes. But we only really need center X, center Y, and a radius. And as you can see here, I've got a center X, mouse X is in that position. I've got a center Y, mouse Y is in that position. And I've got a radius, the 30 is in that position. And again, if you want to know how I knew what the function call for a circle looks like and what parameters are required, all you got to do is go up here to Docs plus Colors and click. And when you do, a new tab opens up and you can search for circle or whatever it is you're looking for. And you can see this one looks a little weird because I have the zoom. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you can see. When I draw a circle, I've got to have a center X, that's the first parameter, and then a center Y, that's the second parameter, and then a radius, that's the third parameter. I must have those three. Everything else I can do if I want, but those are all optional. Okay, let's get back to our code for a minute and let me zoom back in so you can see. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and run to just clear off the canvas. And I want to show you one of the problems that many students have is when they write code and they see that you can make a circle appear where you click the mouse. What happens is many students begin to confuse the center X of a circle with mouse X, okay? They are not necessarily the same thing. In this case they are, but we can make them different. So let's say, for example, I do mouse X plus 25, okay? Now, if I go and well, let's make it even more interesting because I have a radius of 30. I'm going to knock the radius down to 20, and I'm going to say plus 40. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit run. Now, I would like you to pause the video and I'd want you to think for just a minute, what do you think is going to happen when I click the mouse, okay? I'm going to move my mouse around, and by the way, we should be able to see somewhere around here. There should be an X and a Y. Oh, it's way down there. There's the X and the Y. And by the way, that tells me where my mouse position is. You should be using this X and this Y down in this corner to help you better understand mouse position. And by the way, you can also click on this guy, and these numbers up top are the X position, and these numbers on the side are the Y position. And you can kind of play around with that and look down here at these numbers to see that. Okay, anyways, what do you think is going to happen? I want you to pause the video and guess, when I click the mouse right here, what's going to happen? Okay, now I'm hopeful that you paused the video and that you took a guess, and even if you're not sure, that's okay, but I hope you thought about it. I'm going to go ahead and click this mouse now. Now if you haven't taken the time to think about it yet, I'm about to spoil the surprise. So don't let me spoil the surprise. If you want a chance to try to figure out what's about to happen, pause the video and figure it out. Otherwise, here I go. I'm going to go ahead and click. And what do we think is going to happen? Here we go. Boom. Notice that, by the way, I took my hand off the mouse immediately, okay? So wherever I clicked, that circle was drawn to the right of wherever I clicked, okay? So in this case, the center X of the circle is distinctly not the same as mouse X, okay? So you can make the center X of the circle equal to mouse X, and we do that by just putting a mouse X here in that first as that first argument in the circle function call. But the center X of the circle does not have to be the same as mouse X. And by the way, we could even switch these around. We could go and make this mouse Y and make this mouse X, and then guess what? Your center X of the circle is going to be mouse Y, and that's going to be weird. I'm going to try that just for the heck of it. I'm going to hit run, and then I'm going to click, click, click. Ooh, you can see. So something weird is definitely happening. If I click over here, I get a circle over there. If I click over here, I get a circle there. What if I click here? Interesting. Oh, watch this. If I click kind of in the diagonal of the screen, the circle's actually kind of close to where my mouse click is. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is this, is that center X does not always equal mouse X, okay? Center X only equals mouse X when you set center X to mouse X. And that's exactly what this is doing here when I set mouse X there and mouse Y there. Okay. Now, by the way, a question to consider: does center X ever set mouse X? Does center X ever set mouse X? And the answer to that question is no. In other words, there's no way to get, well, for instance, watch this. Hopefully you've learned about variables and properties. I can have a circle that I call C, or whatever I want to call it. Let's call it G, equals circle. Actually, I'm just going to use this. No, we'll do it up here. Do circle, and we'll set it to 20, comma 30, comma radius of 10. And by the way, if I wanted to use mouse X and mouse Y up here, they would not work because we are not in the function definition. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to run it so you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And I get an error message that says mouse X is not defined. I cannot use mouse X or mouse Y until I'm inside the function definition where I've specified mouse X as a parameter and mouse Y as a parameter. By the way, if let's say that I get rid of those and I go back to 20 and 10. If I change this to X, and oh wait, no, let's make it more fun. Let's make it so that I could really mess with you. If I make the parameters X and Y, it's perfectly legitimate. There's no problem with that. I'm still going to get an error message because I'm using mouse X and mouse Y, and we don't have it defined anywhere. So I'm going to hit run. And I'm going to click somewhere, and sure enough, mouse X is not defined, so that's a problem. Okay. You'll notice that I did get my circle drawn at 20, 10 because 20 and 10 are defined. Now, if I want this to work, I got to go in and change this to X and change this to Y. And then all of a sudden, yay, I can draw circles wherever I click my mouse. So neat. Okay, so anyways, let's go back. I'm going to undo a bit of that. Let's see if Canvas will help me speed this up. Oh, good, that went fast. Okay, great. Okay, so anyways, so I think that's most of what I wanted to cover. I just wanted to take. Sorry, we're gonna look at properties. So we've got G here. So let's say we want to now draw a G circle, and we're gonna say G dot center X. Equals. Again, I can set center X equal to mouse X if I want to, but I don't have to. I can set G.center Y equal to mouse Y, but again, I do not have to. And it's all of these things that I've already told you still apply. If I change this to X and this to Y, I'll get an error message for using mouse X and mouse Y down here. If I change this to X and this to Y, but I leave mouse X and this mouse Y, this will not work. Okay, and there's no reason that I have to set center X to mouse X. I could set center X to mouse Y and set center Y to mouse X, but again, then I'll get strange results. And maybe I want that sometimes, but maybe I don't. Let's see here. I can also make it so that the circle appears to the left of the mouse or to the right of the mouse. So mouse X minus 20, for example. I'd like you to pause the video. I'm about to click right here, and I would like you to take a guess. What's gonna happen when I click the mouse right there? Pause the video and take a guess. I am hopeful that you paused and took a guess because I'm about to spoil it for you. I'm going to click. I want to know what's going to happen when I click the mouse right there. I'm going to click and leave the mouse in place. Here I go. 3, 2, 1, click. Notice that the circle is to the left of the mouse. That is because the center X of the circle is not set to mouse X. It's set to mouse X minus 20. All right. What else? Oh, one last thing. Let's say that you're doing great and you draw a circle, and that circle is totally cool. You draw it at mouse, not at mouse X. Let's do it somewhere else. Let's say you draw it at 300, 300, and you give it a radius of 50. But let's say that somehow or another you ended up writing your code like this. Let's say you wanted to draw a circle where the mouse was clicked, okay, or nearby where the mouse was clicked, to the left of where the mouse is clicked. And you write your code like this. There is an error message that's going to occur. It's going to occur because this code needs to be indented to be part of this function. And if this code is not indented, then it's not part of this function, and mouse X and mouse Y will not be defined for these two lines of code. Watch and see what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and immediately we get an error. Oh, wait, why do we get an error message so quickly? Oh, I see why. We got an error message immediately. We didn't even have to click because this code is running because it's not part of any function definition. It is just like line 1 in G, it runs automatically. Any code that's totally unindented will run when you start the program, period. We immediately got an error message, and the reason why mouse X is not defined is because mouse X is only defined inside this function. To fix this, I need to hit tab and hit tab again, and now when I hit run, I can click in various places, and I can draw the circle named G just to the left of wherever I click. All right, whew, that's a lot. Sorry guys, that took me longer than I had hoped, but I hope that is useful for you. Good luck.